Hey, it's Mark Roberts, and this is Let's Get Into Entertainment.
Business of entertainment.
It's the business of entertainment.
Thank you, Dave. He always forgets after how many months?
You know Can somebody call me when you guys figure out what the title of the show is? That would be great.
Pete Sepenuk, by the way.
Back again.
But we're going
to
be talking today with Pete Sepenuk. He's a voiceover artist, editor. He's a filmmaker. He's a producer. He's a director. You kind of do it all.
He's a meme lover.
He's a mean lover.
Meme lover.
A meme lover. I think you said a mean lover.
I know. I was like,
I'm a lover of a meme lover, and I'm a lover of memes.
We're going to get into a conversation about how you're able to do it all. A commercial that was on the Super Bowl. You're the voice of Ovation. You know, you've done some pretty amazing stuff, and you've edited some movies that have been sold all over the world. So we're going to get into it with Pete Sepenuk about all the stuff that he does, how he does it, and how maybe if you're out there sitting there thinking you have a face for radio.
Which I do, not to brag.
Anyway, we'll talk about all that when we get back. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Let's Get Into Entertainment.
The business of entertainment.
Thank you, Davey Dave.
Dave, the business of entertainment. Hey, I want to welcome Tootie. I want to welcome Davey Dave, and I want to welcome Pete Sepenuk.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me back. It's so great to be back with my bros, my homies, for my third time, by the way. I feel honored.
I think you broke the record. I don't think anyone... Oh, actually, Anne's been... My wife's been on.
She's
How
like...
did she get that gig 3-0? And so
she's here.
Right. Yeah.
She's married to the host of the show.
She's extremely available to come downstairs. I know, I get it.
Hey, but I want to congratulate you because you are one of the few people I know that works literally in every piece of the business. And you've added, look, I know, Tootie's a filmmaker, writer, actor, kind of does it all. You do all that, but you added voiceover to it, and you're super successful at it.
Yeah. There's a key word. Successful at
it. Now, I want to tell a little story because I met Pete Sepenuk when I was hired to do a show called My Red Rules.
I remember that show.
Yeah.
A wonderful show.
It was one of the Fox stations, Speed.
The Speed Channel.
Yeah, the Speed Channel. My friend Sam Zoda said, "You're using Pete." And I was like, "I'll use whoever you want as long as you pay me." So I remember...
Even if he sucks.
Yeah, I remember writing the voiceover for the show. And then you and I talked on the phone, and you're like, "Hey, do you want to just come over?" And like, "We'll do it here." So I went over to your house, and you have your own edit bay, you have your own soundproof booth, right?
Yep.
So we went in there, and you and I have this comedy connection, right? So we really went crazy with a lot of the voiceovers for the show and had a lot of fun.
What was funny about the voiceover, the script for the voiceover that you wrote, was that it was so like in tune with sort of what my favorite kind of voiceover delivery. It was like totally like coming up next, you'll never believe what happens with Johnny, like that kind of thing. It was like, oh my god, this is right up my alley. This is fantastic. This is what I live for. It's funny because some people think like nowadays you got to be real, conversational, kind of guy I like to have a beer with. They want somebody who's sincere, To me, sincere is holy crap! It's air knocks, it's turbo time, that kind of thing. That's to me, that's real. That's conversation. That's the kind of guy I'd like to have a beer with, and that's what I'm doing right now.
Do you remember any of the things that we said? Wasn't there one that was like, and Tanya the
vegan vixen?
Yeah, that was it.
Tanya, you vegan vixen, look out! Ooh, take it easy, Tanya. She's getting a little hot under the collar, like that kind of stuff like that. Which was perfect because Tanya was like this, over the top tattoo.
She was a vegan vixen.
She was a vegan vixen. Yeah.
And there was Twinkie.
Twinkie, was that a dude? Twinkie?
It was a dude.
It was a guy named Twinkie. He was about 300 pounds.
He had a yellow car.
Yep.
Yellow truck, and he called himself Twinkie. Yeah. But we had so much fun. Tootie in his mom's 1987 Volvo.
Tootie's about to roll down the street in his mom's old Volvo. Look out, the flames are packed.
That's how we met. I did walk in, I think, and notice immediately that you didn't just do voiceovers. You had like some film up that you were editing. Tell us a little bit about how it's possible that you could be so successful in voiceover, but yet You're also an editor and you're a filmmaker. Did you start as an editor? Did you start as a filmmaker? Where did it all start for you?
Well, it's funny because I went to school at Chapman University, by the way, in 1992, I was the very first graduating class of Chapman University. Wow. Before that, it was Chapman College.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, made it sound like a JC. I'm like, no, you see the money my parents pay. It's not a JC. I swear to God. By the way, I barely got into Chapman in 1988. Trust me, my SAT scores and my grades were crap. So
really?
I think, but Chapman back in 1988, they had standards and they were low. Like 98% of the applicants got in. So I got in. Now it's like impossible to get in there. So I went there for film, but while I was there, of course, I did everything. I had my own radio show. I was in musicals. I made movies. I kind of did everything. So I thought when I came to Hollywood, I'm like, oh well, I'm just going to do everything. And most people don't do that. Most people like come to Hollywood for one thing, like I'm going to be a screenwriter, I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to be this. So I'm just like, well, I'm just going to try everything.
You were ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays everybody does everything. I mean, all you guys do like a gazillion different things yourselves. So it's like, but back in the early 90s and 92 when I moved up here, it was like, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to do improv. I'm going to write a script. I'm going to do everything. So you just do as many things as you can and see what sticks. And then what happened was I was directing at Mattel, and I forget if I told.
Wait, Mattel Barbie?
Mattel Barbie, yeah.
Wow.
I was doing Barbie, not actually doing Barbie. That's crazy. Come on, Dave.
Come
Quit
on.
making your memes
Ladies
about me.
and gentlemen.
Coming up
Me.
next, Pete tags Barbie, if you know what I'm saying. Just kidding. Edit that out. Mattel's going to call me.
$39.99.
Exactly. A minute. Camming. Wait a minute, kids. So anyway, I started working at Mattel, and I was directing, and then the Hot Wheels voiceover guy doubled his rate on the way to the session, and then they're like, we're not going to pay him that. She's like, Pete, you do it. She's like, if we like you, we'll start using you. I was like, okay. And that was 25 years ago, almost to the month, and I've been doing all their in-house stuff, and I started doing broadcast commercials right after that.
Had you ever done voiceover before?
Not professionally, no. Here's the funniest thing.
But you're on the radio.
What's that?
You did radio.
I did radio, yeah, but I hadn't done like voiceover for commercials and getting paid for it yet. So this is sort of started that. But what's funny though is that when I was a kid, you know those infomercials are like, if you call in the next 5 minutes, you'll also get this strawberry peeler, like that kind of thing. Not long after I started doing Mattel, I started doing infomercials, and I was doing that exact same voice. Like nothing had changed. Like the parody voice I did when I was 14 is the same voice I was doing at like age 35. You know.
Yeah.
You know, if you call in the next 5 minutes, you'll also get the recipe book, the videos, the this, the that. It's like the exact same. They're like, great, perfect, we got it.
And if you call now,
you'll get the energy bands. I don't even know what that means. The Benoit balls. Wait a second. What infomercial is this? Hold on, Chuck. So anyway, so then the voiceover stuff started, and then the voiceover stuff just kind of took off in the mid to late 90s.
But the infomercials were big, right? I mean, that was a lot of
was a lot
of work.
doing for some big companies.
I like the little Asian dude on the boat. Remember that guy? How do I do it? I don't know. I just do it. And he has all the girls around him. That guy was my favorite. You remember that dude?
Did you ever think about, I bought this guy's system.
No, I
did
never
you buy
bought
the guy's
anything.
system?
This dude was crazy. How do I do it? I don't know. I just do it. And
Those
he's
guys
got
are the
tons of
best.
chicks.
Even Mary Lou Henner had her own infomercial. She had her own exercise video.
I did extras casting when I first started in the business.
That's right. With Supermarket Sweep.
Yeah, I did Supermarket Sweep. I used to cast all of the audience members in the audience of infomercials. So not all of them, but many of them.
Wow.
I would pull 5 of them out of the audience and be like, okay, you're going to say that chicken was the best chicken you ever had. Unbelievable recipe, right? And it could never have tasted better. And then they'll pull them out and he's like, oh my God, it was so juicy and delicious.
So you're directing.
Yeah, these extras would actually feel like
well
they
done,
were acting.
Scorsese. Yeah.
And then I'd hand them $30 and they'd be like, oh. I guess I'm not really acting.
That's where they do. Yeah. That's when they decided what their worth was.
So let's go back to it. So you graduate, you come to Hollywood, you do it all, then you start doing voiceover.
I started doing voiceovers, and that kind of took off. So the late 90s, early 2000s, it took off, and I was like, I always produced stuff on the side. I was a producer, so I would produce commercials and whatever. But then a friend of mine who was also a voice actor, he had this trailer that was terrible that somebody had cut for this action movie with Sherilyn Fenn and David Carradine, called Treasure Raiders. It was a movie that was shot in Russia. It was it was a movie that was essentially, the lead guy was a Russian wrestler named Alexander Nevsky. Yeah. So he's like, I hate the trailer. I was like, you know what? I'm an editor. I could recut it for you. Wow. So I recut it. He's like, this is great. He goes, you're going to do my next feature. I'm like, yeah, right. Suddenly, like a week later, I started cutting his next feature. I recut a movie he made called Welcome to Paradise. And then right after that, I went back to back with 2 other features. One was called Serbian Scars with Michael Madsen. I know you've seen it 30 times, everybody. And another one was called Cat City with Brian Dennehy, Julian Sands, and Rebecca Pidgeon.
Those are a bunch of great actors.
They're great actors, yeah. Being an editor, it's like it all comes down to you.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. I mean, you could have a set of like 150, 200, 300 people, you know, but in the end, it's essentially one guy with an editor.
You know
one
what's
guy
in-
with an editing.
Well,
You know what's interesting,
Tony
Robert?
knows this.
I
Yeah.
do know this. So this weekend, I was with Lopez and a bunch of people, and we were talking about like the direction in which the entertainment world is going.
Right.
And Roberts doesn't like to believe this, but there's an exodus from Hollywood. There's a lot of people leaving. And for instance, for like yourself, who's an editor and voiceover, you really don't need to be here anymore, do
You
you?
could post anywhere.
You could do it anywhere,
Yeah.
and you could come in. If you're going to direct something, you could do everything via Zoom. That's a lot of people are doing that.
Right.
And then you just come in for the shoot or the table read or you know, you really. So there's more and more people setting up shop elsewhere where it's cheaper, where you can get more for your money.
Yep.
I know of a girl who was an actress here in LA. She wasn't a big actress. She had a couple little parts here and there. She linked up with the screenwriter, not like that, but just partnered up with him.
Right.
She moved back home to Oklahoma, got the city to give her money to open up the Civic Center there, some of that piece of big property they weren't using, and they're converting it into a soundstage or sound stages.
Oh, wow.
And they're going to run production out of Oklahoma, out of I forget what city it is, but it's a big deal, you know, and the tax incentives for their money.
Yeah, of course.
And it's pretty crazy, but I'm telling you, she was in like a handful of things. She's always been a hustler.
Right.
You know, she's always been, out there doing stuff. Like,
Do you think it's the kind of thing that probably wouldn't have happened if COVID hadn't hit? Do you think it's because COVID like definitely sort of got that going?
I don't think so, because she was here, she was working, she
Right.
had a son, she was married, and that happened, and she went back. That's where she's from. So she went back home with her she was with her family,
Right.
and kind of just started checking out the way things were going.
Right.
And then from the art, because she was on the cover of the paper out there, like,
Right.
so I started reading the story. I was like, holy shit, like she did it, you know?
Right.
And that's
Look.
just one example.
I told my kids, I said, look, there's no reason for you to have to stay in California just because you were born here, just because, you know, we live in Los Angeles. There's no reason you need to stay here, because you know what? It is hard. You do have to make a bunch of money. You can't just, go be a social worker and live comfortably in LA. It's not going to happen, right?
Right.
So
That's why I stopped.
you have to at some point make a decision. Do you want to live in the fast life of Los Angeles? Do you want to play at the highest level in Los Angeles? Because you are going to have to earn a really great living so that you can live comfortably. Otherwise, there's really no reason to be here, because there are places that you can move and pay
Right.
$1,500 rent and have your car lease be reasonable, or you don't lease it.
Totally.
You just buy a
Right.
cheap car that's an old vehicle, and you can
Right.
get that you just use for transportation, and you can try to make your movies that way, I guess. Or if you're not in the industry at all, then you don't have to be in LA. But if you're in LA, you better play the game, and you better play it hard.
Another person who's been on the show, who's very successful, who's looking to move to Nashville. That's a second.
Nashville's
Right.
also a very busy,
Your town.
popular
So,
city.
so my daughter, who's 17, she's going to go to college
Dude,
next
your
year.
daughter is
She's
17.
She's a senior in high school. She's doing her entire senior year from her bedroom, on her laptop, on her bed. It's a dream come true. No, I got to say, her attitude has been amazing. But that being said, her idea is to get as far away from California as possible for college.
Smart.
Either New York or London or Edinburgh, one of those schools in the UK, perhaps. Because she knows that she's going to eventually come back to LA and make a living in LA.
Get
hopefully.
your wallet ready.
Get ready to never see money again. Remember cash.
Remember buying stuff?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, that ATM card, it's great. You're never going to see it again. Anyway.
You are overdrawn.
Once again. Overdrawn. This summer, Mark Roberts is overdrawn. That's a movie. Come on. You know it's going to get made.
And then let's splice in his rant right now.
Soleil Moon Frye is overdrawn. I thought of her. I don't know why my mind went to Punky Brewster, but it did. You know, when I was a youngster. Anyway, so, but yeah, so, but to that point, though, it's almost like I think for her, because she knows she's going to be living in LA, because she knows, I still sort of feel like this is the place where you want to launch a career in a way, or New York.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to just be like, I'm just going to stay in Texas or I'm going to stay in Oklahoma, or I'm going to stay wherever, you know, because I figure I have just as good a shot now as anybody else, which is, you know, which is marginally true. It's basically, you need to be at a place where you're sort of, you know, where all the action's happening.
If you come from LA, if in this business and you go anywhere else, you're going to get work because people think that, like, you know, that you're in the mix, so you know what you've been in the trenches.
Exactly. So there's got to be like a, you know, there's sort of like that's your stable.
And I'm not planning on leaving, Roberts. I'm just saying what the conversation was about. Somebody like Pete, who's an editor and a voiceover guy, you could kind of pretty much go anywhere, I would think, right? Well, you're also a director and stuff like that, so you can come in. But your work speaks for itself. It's like Roberts, you need to go sit with Lopez and make those calls at his office. You need to like be around.
Realistically, in a year and a half, when the business sort of gets back to quote unquote normal, I think it's going to be great to continue to stay here.
I think that you're right. I was driving down the street here where all the agencies were, and you know, a lot of these buildings are for lease now. Yeah, they're like, people have literally rejiggered their whole business plan. They're like, hey, wait a minute, we might not have to pay this $50,000-$60,000 lease anymore, right? Because people seem to be working from home and Zooming and all that. I had 3 pitches last week. I have a pitch tomorrow, all Zoom, all like, you know, Google Meeting or whatever they are. Right. So I think you're right. I think there's going to be a readjustment of how all industry is dealt with. I think people working from home is going to be like, hey, maybe this isn't too bad an idea.
Yeah, and I think to that point, I think a lot of people are, you know, everyone's mixed. Like some people are like, oh my God, working home is the best thing ever. Other friends are like, oh my God, working home sucks. Yeah. I got little kids. I got a dog barking. I need an office. So I think everybody's sort of like split. I think most people are leaning towards staying at home, but I think a lot of people are like, you know.
In the industry, we're doing these pitches and people are at their house. I can, you know, I see.
Now, how is a pitch though? Because I've yet to do a pitch via Zoom. How is it pitching, or how is it being pitched?
It's fine. I want to blow my head off after 45 minutes because, you know, there's so much going on. You know, like, who am I looking at? How are they doing? I can't make any,
because you can't read the person.
Moves. Yeah. No, well, can I look at the executive, or does it look like I'm looking at her? How do I look? Oh my God, I look like shit. Should I turn on another light?
I found myself running my hands through my hair the entire interview.
Is it weird that I just took a drink of my coffee? Is it odd that I have shorts on, but I have a nice shirt?
Hello, president of the network. See my Mattel? Yeah, I had a Zoom meeting with the president of the network last week, and she was at home, and she was super cool. But yeah, it was also like super self-conscious.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot to learn, but the pitches are fine. And this goes back to what the show's all about. It's really simply about pitching as much as you can, letting people know what you have, and eventually someone's going to be like, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
So let me ask you this: do you find that the people are buying projects right now? I mean, is it like, what's the sort of the? I mean, I actually have a project with Propagate Content, a sports show, and it's been great, and so we're getting it out there, and it's
buried
awesome.
The lead.
I buried the lead.
What do you got?
I know, right?
Wait, so last time you came here, you were working on that. Now you sold it.
Done.
Nice.
It's not, I would not say sold. Sounds a little bit. I mean, we're working together, and I'm working with Propagate right now. You know, Ben Silverman's company.
Sure.
And yeah, it's great. It's great. So there's definitely, you know, I will hopefully have something to report at the beginning.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
But to answer your question, yeah, I think people are buying, but it's no different than it was before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, everyone still needs product. But the game has changed because now it's, if you were great in a room and now it's on Zoom, are you still great in a room?
That's a great point, because so the guy that I work with at Propagate, he's this great guy. He's one of the guys. His name's Cyrus, and he's fantastic. And he is great in a room. He's just great. And he's the kind of guy that if you went out and had a drink with him, you'd be like, oh my God, I want to work with this guy. And that's one of the things that sort of like, you know, I wonder if that's suffering, like selling shows and selling movies, is because you're not actually going out and seeing these people.
It's changing.
Because somebody who might be horrible in a room is, maybe they're good on Zoom. Maybe they got a cool backdrop. You know? Maybe their dog comes in at just the right time, and they're like, "Hey, puppy!" And that exactly goes. That's the kind of guy.
Right. That's
there. That's a golden retriever. I like that dog.
Okay, I have to tell a quick story real quick.
You need that vibe.
Yeah, you do, right?
You missed the vibe.
Vibe. Yeah, that's true. You missed the vibe. So a friend of mine had an interview for a big creative producer position at this company, and during the meeting, her kid comes in and throws a temper tantrum on the floor.
Yeah.
Nice.
Starts screaming at her mom. The mom starts screaming back. She's like, "No, I get out of here," like that or whatever. And finally, she gets her out, and they're like, "Do you need a minute?" And she's like, "No, I'm fine. I'm like, "Where were we?" Gets right back to the meeting. She gets the gig. Because they're like, "Oh my God, you were so great with your kid.
So real.
You're so real." Yeah, like she got the job. I'm like, I love hearing stuff like that.
That is
It's
hilarious.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that, like that'd be the funniest thing. Like a couple just starts fighting, you know?
Right.
Put it on mute, and it's not. Like, you fucking idiot. It's on. And all you see is comes back. You weren't on mute. Oh, my bad.
It's just real. They were just real.
It's definitely a different thing how we're pitching. I just heard another person getting fired at Disney. The contact I had for films at Amazon fired. You know, it's like people, the whole business is shifting for this now unstoppable appetite that people have for watching product because they're all at home and you all want new stuff. There's not new stuff. I remember when our kids were young. Actually, we all have kids except for David. Dave, you're a kid.
He might have some. We don't know yet.
Oh yeah, you may have some. Oh, go on 23andMe. 23andMe, you'll find some people. If you have kids, they'll be on there.
Yeah, don't do it, David. Dave, you're a good-looking dude. I've heard some stories.
But you know,
not surprised.
When my kids were younger, every week I was, hoping there was a new cartoon or some new family movie, like just
Captain
praying.
Caveman.
Praying. Right. And there was never enough, dude. There was never enough. Maybe one every 2 weeks, maybe, but that's a market that is constantly in need of brand new material for kids to see, to get excited about. Dinosaur Train, whatever.
Right. Dinosaur Train?
Yeah, Dinosaur Train.
You know what the best is though, and I'm both ashamed and excited to talk about this. The greatest show on TV right now, besides, of course, Mark's show on Netflix. That's different. That's the other great show, Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I heard.
Have you guys watching it?
Yeah, but you know, it's a trip. Cobra Kai came from YouTube Red
2 years ago.
So
YouTube
why
Originals,
would YouTube Red get rid of Cobra Kai? Because they did the first season there.
I don't know. Somehow, though, going to Netflix, it's like the biggest. They said it's one of the biggest non-original Netflix shows in history. Yeah. So it's up there with like The Office,
but
right?
It did well.
There's every reason in the world. And by the way, I was on you. Just so you know, Teddy, I was the exact same way. I was almost got YouTube Red just for Cobra Kai.
For that series,
just
right?
for that series, because I'm a fan of the first movie, The Karate Kid. It's great. There's a million reasons why Cobra Kai should be the worst show on TV. Somehow they got it totally right, and it's amazing. And the reason it's amazing is because instead of it being a black and white show where Johnny is evil and Ralph Macchio is like the hero, they made it black and white. They made it so Ralph Macchio could be the asshole and Johnny could be the hero. They made it sort of a gray area where like there's good and bad about each person. But what really makes it amazing, and the reason to watch the show, is because William Zabka, the guy who plays Johnny Lawrence, and I'm not making this up, is the best thing on TV.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And there's a million reasons also why that could be like a parody of, like the version he played back in 1984.
Well, that was
but instead,
like,
it's real and it's amazing and he's hilarious and he's like pitch perfect, like Emmy Award worth.
That's like Creed 2. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard Drago's character. You're rooting for him. You know, it's not about rocking. You're actually rooting for Drago because of how low he went, and kind of like Johnny's character. He's same thing. Daniel Russo's like a dick. He runs a dealership.
He's like a rich prick, and Johnny's down on his luck, and he starts Cobra Kai to make money. It's brilliant.
Because look, you go to YouTube for little quick videos. You go to it for instructional tutorials. You don't really go to watch shows.
28-minute.
That's it.
Here's the thing, is that there are businesses that understand what their business is, and they don't venture into areas where they're just not, where it's not for them.
It's not their bucket.
So YouTube understands where they're making most of their money, and it's not in them creating content for themselves.
So you know what they do? They sell that show for a shitload of money in Netflix, and bam, they're out.
Do you think they
that's
sold
not
them
their bucket?
Did they sell it to Netflix for a shitload of money?
No, I think
you don't think so. I bet you they did.
No, I think that. I mean, what's a shitload of money to YouTube? YouTube's owned by Google. Like really? They're gonna turn Cobra Kai into a business. They're gonna turn Cobra Kai into a business.
I mean, they're each getting something like $500 million to $1 million
for Cobra Kai.
$1 million.
Season 3 is $2 billion.
Think about how the filmmakers, the people involved with Cobra Kai, probably went to YouTube Red and said, "Hey, we have an opportunity to continue the life of this show at Netflix, and we're going to need you to help us and let us out of this deal so that we can go do that deal. And maybe in some form of this, there's a payment of a weekly payment to YouTube Red, but it would be not significant. It wouldn't be huge because this isn't like a huge money making thing for them, right? Because they've already let it go. So there's probably some sort of like licensing deal that they have with them that they're like, okay, you'll get 25 an episode or 30 or 40 or 50,000 an episode, but it's not millions of dollars an episode.
So it's like the mob. You just got to kick up to the boss. It's like the capo regime.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But anyway, so look, let's get back to you.
Yeah, forget Johnny Lawrence. Let's talk about Pete Sepenuk. Come on.
Jesus Christ.
Last thing I want to talk about, why in the world do people no longer focus on in a world? Why is that not a thing?
In a land. Why is it? Okay, that's a really great question. And I'll tell you what I think. I think that, first of all, when you watch trailers nowadays, there's hardly any voiceover.
That's right. They're using
There's almost no, it's all text.
Scenes.
It's all text
too.
on scene. Using scenes, and then they're using text on screen. It's like, you never thought you'd see this, but it's all text. It's not even a VO saying it. So very few trailers just don't use that voice anymore. I think what it was, I think reality TV changed sort of the landscape of marketing. Honestly, I think it was like, people want real. Like I was saying before, joking around, they want real conversation.
You're right, though.
So they don't want somebody who's going to come in there and be
land.
like, coming up next, you've never seen Rambo like this. Which is
I like that. I missed that.
I missed that too.
I do too. Luckily, I still get to do that on certain spots.
In a land.
You've never seen Mark Roberts like this because you've never actually seen Mark Roberts until now.
What about this one? Would it be too weird and too on the nose to put a trailer out for 2020 saying, I know what you did last summer?
Nothing. The two things you did last summer were Jack and shit, and Jack just left town. I actually did a trailer for a fake movie called 2020 the movie, and it's on YouTube. It's pretty funny. It's brutal. But yeah, I mean, I feel like now, because of reality TV, I feel like nowadays they don't want like the hard sell. They want like the soft sell. Like, they want somebody who's trustworthy to come in there and be like, coming up next, made in Mexico. They want like, so they don't want it to be like coming up next, made in Mexico. They don't want that. They don't want it to be like real, sincere. So I think marketing has changed.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I miss it a lot. But at the same time, I hear you on Super Bowl commercials. I hear you on the Voice of Ovation. And you're still very effective and warm. And I just want to grab my ice cream and my pillow. And I want to lay down. I want to listen to Pete Sepenuk. So what are you doing? We never get to ask you what you're doing next. But what's like next on the horizon for you? What are you doing? What's up?
What's next? Well, I have the show that I was saying before.
Do you have any hopes and dreams?
My dream is to pay my mortgage this month. Would be a dream if I could.
Well, get out of LA because you ain't gonna do it.
Good luck. It's time for a refi, motherfucker.
Overdrawn 2.
Overdrawn 2.
Coming
We
2021.
just created an entire franchise called Overdrawn. You've never seen Rowdy Piper like this. Oh, that's right. He passed away. Sorry. Bad reference. Heart of gold. No, I think so. Next is, it's sort of the same thing. It's like, it's selling. It's this TV show. I actually just produced a virtual award show last week, which turned out to be a blast. We shot everything on a green screen stage. There was 4 of us on the entire crew. I'm not making this up. It was fantastic.
Nice.
Well, you guys know because, you're friends with the guy who does extreme music.
Right.
It's basically an award show. I'm not making this up. They actually hand out awards to the best production music library tracks.
Dude, has Russ Emanuel won that award? Because Extreme Music's unbelievable.
They're amazing. Extreme Music is they're sort of pioneers.
Dude, they're the
sort of
best.
pioneer.
They're the best that's ever been. We're gonna have Russ on the next show.
Yeah, he's amazing. So they hand out. So we did this. We did it all virtually.
Hang on. Can you say Extreme Music for all your music needs?
Extreme Music for all your music needs.
Oh wow, that's scary.
Tell Russ he's got to pay me for that. I'm sending Russ an invoice. Jesus Christ,
Russ a good dude.
Russ,
He'll buy you a soda.
So I'll buy you soda. So anyway, so we did that, and that's kind of like that's right now. That's currently sort of like the that's sort of the current version of your award show, is to
Yeah.
produce it virtually, to shoot it on a green screen, to shoot it, to have all graphics, for people to send in their award, their acceptance speeches and have like winner videos, people cheering from the different libraries, like Universal Production Music and all these different places. They all sent them in, and it was a dream. It was great. It was really, obviously it would be great to have it live and have the 500 people be there and everything. Right. But that being said, there was now it's several thousand people are able to view this on YouTube as opposed to just being in a ballroom for 400 people, which is great.
Pete, it's always fun to have you on the show. I want to thank you. Thank you for
again.
being here.
Love you guys.
Love you. Yeah. See you all next time on Let's Get Into Entertainment.
The business of entertainment.
That's right.
The wait is over. The Walking Dead is back. Don't miss the extended 10th season featuring 6 new episodes, each focused on different favorite characters. Get ready for high-stakes showdowns, emotional reckonings, and more info about your favorite Walking Dead survivors. Start watching the latest season today and catch new episodes of Season 10 early with AMC+. From season binges and exclusive content to early access to new episodes, the best Walking Dead experience is only on AMC+. Get lost in the Walking Dead universe today. Available ad-free and on demand. Sign up at amcplus.com. AMC+, only the good stuff.